We got the two-time NBA champion Craig Hodges coming up right now on the Discover Card Celebrity Hotline. Craig, welcome to the Odd Couple, brother. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine, brother. Appreciate you.
Great to have you on. First of all, is your family and you guys safe and everything so far?
Hey, man, we're blessed, man. Thank God. You know, it's been a crazy ride just sitting back watching all of this, but you know, everything's been well on this end. Appreciate it.
All
Right. Well, let's get to it. You won championships with the Bulls and Michael Jordan in 91, 92. You played 4 years with him. Those 2 years you won championships. You were a big-time three-point shooter for that team and others in your career. Let me ask you this first. A lot of people point back to, you know, the 96 Bulls who won 72 games. This Last Dance documentary that's coming up on ESPN, that's going to deal with the 97-98 team, which was his last in Chicago. How do you think your Bulls championship teams compared to that second three-peat? Like, were you guys as good, better? What's your take?
You know, it's funny for me because I always tell people, you know, you don't get to that last dance if you don't have the first one and you don't know how to dance. So
right.
the blessing of learning how to dance and to actually win the dance is something that I think is unique. And I feel like our first championship team would have possibly beat any championship team that ever won it.
What do you think people will learn from this about Michael? Just learn about Michael Jordan. What can you give us some insight? What don't people really know about Michael Jordan?
Well, I think, you know, the biggest thing for me is his ability, the longevity of his tenacity, the ability to keep the eye of the tiger and to have your mindset. And I was blessed to have had a chance to coach Kobe, and you know, for 5 years when I was with the Lakers, and to see his work habits and to be able to see how close they were to MJ's is. It was cool to watch, man, and it was cool to be a part of it, and for me to have a chance to practice against Michael every day and to know, you know, that every day he wanted somebody against him that was going to bring it. And I think that's the thing that, you know, possibly separates him from a lot of other champions was his tenacity and his ability to know how to get it done.
Craig Hodges, world champion with the Chicago Bulls, 91-92, joining the Odd Couple. Michael Jordan even said in this documentary, and it's been reported around over the last few days, he said he was a bit apprehensive about doing it because he said, when people see how I acted around my teammates and how hard I push guys, this is a direct quote, they're going to think I'm a horrible guy. I mean, honestly, you gave us a little something there, but really, like, what was it like playing with Michael Jordan? And obviously he's not a horrible guy, but, you know, was he, like, at times, did you just want to kill him as a teammate because was he going at guys that hard?
You know, for me, I was blessed to have had, you know, that authoritarian type upbringing as far as coaching was concerned. So it was very little that could actually rattle me as a player, but I've seen it. I've seen it up close and personal with players that were demoralized, players who couldn't handle it and were out of here. You know, so it was a thing where he could push you to the limit. And the main thing, you know, for me, just seeing it and being a part of it, it was just a matter of you standing your ground. And if you didn't stand your ground and you took a step backwards, he was going to go after you to see if you would take 2 steps back. And I think that's the biggest part of us being able to win championships was, you know, we had veterans like Bill Cartwright and myself who had been in you know, playoffs battles, and we had more playoff experience than anybody on the team. So we were able to balance some of that. But at the same time, MJ was MJ, and he had the personality and the persona that, you know, was larger than life to a lot of guys that played with him and against him. And if you weren't thick-skinned and you didn't have your game tight, it was going to be a problem. Same thing with Kobe.
Can you give us an example or two? You don't have to name the player that he went at or whatever, but can you give us an example or two?
Pete Myers.
You know, something he was, you know, what you're talking about?
Well, you know, there's a couple guys that, you know, and to some degree, you don't want to name them. You know, we had a power forward from a Big Ten school that was one of the key figure on our team at a point in time we were trying to win. And he and MJ didn't see eye to eye. I felt MJ was a bit too hard on him, same way with another guy from Ohio State. So for me, it was one of those things, a learning experience for myself and for them as well. I think they saw the game in a different light, and as far as, the positions that they played were the positions that they played. And Michael wanted a little bit more of them, and it was one of those things that oftentimes you can ask more of someone that's out of their talent pool or out of their DNA pool or what have you. And when you're an exceptional talent like an MJ and a Kobe, your tolerance is a little bit less than a lot of other guys because you are so great.
Brad Sellers and Dennis Hobson.
You called it. I ain't say nothing,
He
man.
didn't mention it. Here's the.
I ain't say nothing, man. But if you watched it, if you said where I sat, there were a lot of times when, and once again, we're in this civilization where the balance oftentimes is out of whack because, we're in it for different things. We have ulterior motives, whether it be fame and fortune as opposed to just winning and just opposed to this being a teammate and I want my teammate to get better. It's a lot of guys that couldn't handle it, man. And for me, it was just one of them things like, come on, man, you put on your shoes the same way I put on mine. Let's get it on. And for me, it was always fun to be able to compete against him every day and to know that a lot of times what y'all saw him do, he wouldn't have did it without me practicing against it.
Right.
I think, Craig, what do you make? I think it says a lot about Michael Jordan and the imprint he left on a lot of people and players that former Pistons, Bill Laimbeer, Isaiah have all gone out of their way to say LeBron is better than MJ. And I still, obviously the battles that the Pistons and the Bulls had. What does that say when those guys are still have a grudge against Michael Jordan?
Hey, man, and that's the cool part about it is that, when you talk about a LeBron, he wasn't looking at Isaiah or Laimbeer. He was looking at MJ. So when you talk about him being better than MJ, you're talking about imitation is the highest form of flattery. So, man, it's one of the things where they just don't want to admit the fact that we were able to pick ourselves up the ground from all of those whoopings and able to put it back on them to a point where they were embarrassed that, they couldn't even man up to the point of saying, hey, man, y'all are better than us now. We just got to go back to the drawing board and get back at it like we did. So it's one of those things that it's a grudge that athletes often have when we don't grow up because we grew up playing a child's game so we can still be childish at times.
Craig, you mentioned your years coaching Kobe. And obviously, he's very similar to Michael, not only his game, but, as you said, the killer instinct and the work ethic and all that. Was he similar to Mike as well in terms of the way he went at teammates, in terms of challenging them? Was it pretty much the same thing?
He was worse.
Really?
He was worse, man. And for me, and part of it is it's generational, man. I look at some players who they used to say were temperamental before MJ's time, who were hard teammates to get along with and the like. But it's one of those things where I will watch sometimes where it would be Cole would come to practice and he's on this thing where I'm gonna just give it to everybody. And if you ain't up for the challenge, you're gonna be embarrassed today. And then if I embarrass you today, then it's gonna be an ongoing thing where you got to stand up. Sasha Vujacic was a classic case but Sasha got better from it. That MJ would slap Sasha, literally slap him around. But Sasha was big enough to take it within practice to where MJ would basically Kobe would basically bring him along to the point where Sasha would knock down jumpers and play big for us in championship seasons.
Wow. That's great stuff. Craig Hodges, two-time NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls, one of the best three-point shooters that the game's ever seen. And I was looking at some of your numbers, Craig. You shot 49% 1 year from three, and that's 3 times a game. It wasn't like a small sample. Yeah. Let me ask you this quickly. We only got about 30 seconds. If you played today, where obviously the three-point shot is so prominent, do you think, you won 2 championships, but you think individually you would have had an even better career because of the change in the game?
Oh, it would have been fun to see, man, because, at the same time, I came in the game as a point guard, so I could dribble the basketball. And now, if you can dribble and shoot, you're a marquee player. So it would have been fun to see, to be able to dribble around and tell somebody, give you a pick, and you launch from 35 where you can launch from. So it's a different game.
Because y'all didn't even hardly run high pick and rolls back then.
Man, I'm telling you, it's a different game. But I still feel blessed to say that I played during the golden era of the game.
Great
No
stuff.
doubt.
That's
No
Craig Hodges, champion
Thanks,
with the
Craig.
Bulls. Craig, thanks a lot, man, and be safe out
Appreciate
there.
y'all, man. Everybody be safe.
All right, see you. We just had Craig Hodges on, former teammate of Michael Jordan, also coached, with Phil Jackson, Coach Kobe Bryant, and had great insight into Jordan and talked about how tough Jordan was on teammates. And his whole purpose was to get them toughened up so that he could count on them in playoff games, in clutch moments. And some guys, as Hodges illustrated, couldn't take it. And those are the ones who ended up at some point leaving the Bulls. But those that could take it stayed around, improved as players, and won championships. And he said Kobe was the same way. In fact, he said Kobe was even worse than Jordan, going at players, going at teammates. But Michael, we're talking about this Last Dance documentary, 10-part series on ESPN that's going to start on Sunday. And Jordan apparently was concerned about doing the documentary because he was like, when people see me, the director of the documentary said this. He said Jordan was apprehensive because Jordan said, when people see how hard I was on my teammates, they're going to think I'm a horrible guy. And so get ready, because Michael, in the Hanes commercials, always smiling. Mike, I want to be like Mike, right? If I could be like Mike, all that.
I don't know if it sounded like that.
It's going to be a different Mike. It's going to be a different Mike in The Last Dance. Here's Jordan himself talking about it.
That's right,
from
Chris.
Rob G,
this is from the documentary. It has not been released yet, but here's a excerpt from one thing he said about what you just discussed about being a horrible guy. Jordan said, quote, "Look, winning has a price and leadership has a price. So I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled. I challenged people when they didn't want to be challenged. And I earned that right because my teammates who came after me didn't endure all the things that I endured. Once you joined the team, you lived at a certain standard that I played the game. And I wasn't going to take any less. Now, if that means I had to go in there and getting your ass a little bit, then I did that." End quote.
Go ahead, Rob. I'll let you have the first.
I'm just going to say, I think Michael Jordan is going to have even more fans after they watch this 10-part documentary, because they will see, Chris, he said it perfectly, there's a price for winning. It ain't about being a nice guy. You're not putting together a church choir and things like that. Michael demanded a lot. That's why he was 6-0. That's why he was so dominant. He worked at it. It wasn't just God-given talent. He worked at it. He was a great leader. He led by example. He led off the court. I mean, there was a lot of things that Michael did, I think, that teammates looked at and said, if this guy's coming to practice early, if this guy's staying late, right, and he's a star player, how in the world can I go home? How in the world can I come late? You can't. You know that? And if you know, Chris, if there's a star player on the team and he doesn't care, if he doesn't care, why should I care? Right? And he's talented.
You're absolutely right.
So I think the millennials who have heard all of Michael Jordan fawning over and all the salivating and all the old wise men tales or wise stories, about Michael Jordan, will get an inside look finally. And they might take a look and go, you know what, reevaluate everything they've thought and say, I think he is the GOAT. I think he is the best player. Wow, I can't believe what he was able to do. Wow, did you see those hard fouls that they were committed against him and, and all the other stuff that he went through to get there. I think you'll have a better appreciation of Michael Jordan, and the 6-0 with all 6 MVPs in those finals, Chris, will finally come into focus. And it ain't just watching some YouTube games or whatever, but you'll be able to get an in-depth look. And I really mean this. I think there'll be way more Michael Jordan fans after this documentary.
Well, that's hard to do because Jordan is.
There's
Jordan
a lot of LeBron
is,
fans.
He's the most as popular as LeBron is. Michael Jordan's the most popular basketball player of all time. Do you doubt that or question that?
No, I don't doubt
like
that.
LeBron
but
is
I still think
polarizing. I don't even think Jordan's polarizing. Like just about everybody. Now there are those that think LeBron's better, but just about everybody loves Jordan. They may not think he's the GOAT. And I know there are some people that don't love him, but you know what I'm saying? Like for the most part, he's not as polarizing as Kobe.
I can give you one city in America that doesn't love him.
Detroit, right?
Right? Am I right? Let's be honest.
Yes,
Detroit has no love for Michael Jordan.
They got a little claim to fame because they beat him.
Yep,
So
they do.
Can, they can stick out their chest a little bit. But you know what I mean? I think he's wildly popular. But I think a few things, Rob. One, I think specifically getting to Jordan, how hard he rode teammates. And, that's what he's talking about. He doesn't, people are going to see that and might not like it. First of all, there are people like that in every profession. There are people that, I'm talking about the ultra elite. Not all of them are like that, but a lot of the ultra elite at every single profession, some of them are obsessed. And some of them are not fun to work with. Some of them, people around the office can't stand them. But they're great at what they do. And they get their job, they do their job at a tremendous level, and they lift other people to do better. And some that don't want to be around that just disappear or go elsewhere or whatever. But there are people like that in every field, who are just, you just can't stand being around them, but they're wonderful at their jobs. And it's because of their obsessiveness and their obsession with it. And they're
Chris,
hard
thanks.
on people that aren't like that. Yeah,
Thanks
no,
for saying
I'm not
that to
talking
me.
about you. Not that you're not good at your job, but you're not that personality. But I think there are people like that in every field. Secondly, Rob, I think that what's going to stun, that might be a little strong, but it might not be. But what's going to stick out and stand out to these millennials is how tough Michael Jordan was on his teammates, physically, as far as what he took from the Pistons and other teams, and just period. Because not that there aren't tough athletes now, but it's just different. It's just different, and it's so much more friendlier. It's friendlier. It's a different generation. Your coaches aren't supposed to yell. Teammates aren't supposed to yell. You get in an argument with a teammate and people write about it and talk about it like you can never be friends again. And Jordan was different. They're going to see how tough he was. And I think when you talk about separating the all-time great athletes, like Muhammad Ali, he didn't have the best boxing record of all time, lost fights. Some fights he even won. You could argue he lost. But Ali's will to win, Ali's toughness, physically he took maybe the best, he might have had the best chin in the history of boxing. And then mentally, he was so tough to take on bigger foes, harder punching foes, and he could just mentally wear them out. That separated him from others. Jordan was similar. Jordan's will to win separates him. And that is going to stand out to these millennials. Because the closest you got is Kobe, but even to the millennials, they didn't even see all of Kobe.
No, they didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So who's like that now? Chris Paul is, but he doesn't win at their level.
I was going to say, you have to win.
Right.
And so I'm looking at it, and I think you're right, Chris. They'll be able to look at it. Like, for all you can say about LeBron and his greatness, he's more of everybody's cool, let's get everybody involved and all that. And you could see that, you don't have to be, you can be hard and win, and everybody doesn't have to like you in order to be successful in life. That's not
Right.
what it's about. I always say, and you know this, Chris, being in the business that we've been in forever, it's not about being liked. It's about being respected, right?
Right.
I really don't care if people like me, but I want to be respected, that people look at me and go, this guy puts in a hard day's work every day. He comes prepared. He's ready to do his job or whatever. I might not personally like him, but but I have to respect him.
Right. And I think something else you said, Rob, I want to highlight. When you said Jordan, you have to be good. You have to be great. Like, to do what Michael Jordan did, you better be great. Because as you said, people aren't going to like you. Now, what happened with a guy like Jordan is he was so great and you started winning because of his greatness. And as a teammate, you just say, you know what? Heck, let's just jump on the bandwagon, right? Like, I can't stand him. He's driving me crazy. He's too hard on me. He's cussing me out. He beat me up, whatever. But we're winning championships. I'm a star. I'm a little star. I know he's the man, but I'm part of the circus too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm getting fringe benefits. I'm getting more money too.
Right.
So you go along with it. And I've seen, quickly before you go, Rob, I've seen other players try to lead that way. And Isaiah kind of led somewhat like that, Isaiah Thomas. But again, he was great enough to win. And I've seen guys try to lead like Jordan or Isaiah or Kobe and be hardcore. This is how we do hard. But they're not. They might be really good, but they're not good enough to win championships. And when that happens, I mean, and again, I'm not picking on him. As I like him, I think he's a great player and a great guy. But Chris Paul, he's known, Rob, for what? Driving teammates crazy.
No, absolutely.
And he rides them hard, no differently probably than these other guys, but they haven't won. And that's the problem. When you don't win and you do that, it's going to be ugly. Just like it was for Jordan in Washington.
I was going to say one other. There was coaches get away with that too. You can't be all of Belichick's disciples who go other places.
Right. Good point.
Right, and trying to be like him. That's not going to work.
Who was it? Bill O'Brien, right? Just with DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah.
Right. Bill O'Brien and in Detroit,
Patricia.
Matt Patricia. That stuff doesn't work because you could walk around and be like, well, I was with the Patriots, but you don't have the Super Bowls that he's won to be able to, have that cachet. And I remember in Detroit, a lot of the players didn't like Scotty Bowman, who was the Red Wings coach and a Hall of Famer. He won 9 championships, Chris, okay? 9.
Wow.
Stanley Cups. So you couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, Scotty got away with it. Why?
Right.
He won.
Right.
They hated him, but he won, and that's the point.
No, that's real. That's real. And it's for all those future great players out there that are going to watch this. If you want to try to lead like Michael Jordan and get all up in your teammates and all the things you're going to see, you better be great enough to lead your team to championships. Because otherwise, you're just going to drive them crazy and they're going to be, you know what I mean? It's just the truth. And again, we said it happened with Jordan in Washington, Rob, right? He was the same Michael in Washington.
But they weren't making the playoffs. It was totally different.
Like, there are people that will tell you he destroyed Kwame Brown's psyche.
Absolutely.
And then poor Kwame, then he leaves Washington with Jordan and goes to the Lakers, and Kobe just picks it up from him. He didn't have a chance.
He had no shot.
Right, but that's the only way it works is when you are that good and you can win. All right, there's more of the odd couple coming up, but we want to check your pulse. 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. What are the chances this Michael Jordan documentary actually changes the way his fans look at him, positively or negatively?
All right, let's start with Eric in Oregon. You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio. What you got, Eric?
Hey, what's happening, fellas? How we doing this evening?
All right,
Yeah, great.
hanging in.
How are you?
I'm good, man. Yo, Rob, you told me not to call anymore after we disagreed with Steph the other day, but I'm going to come in agreeing with you. Hope I
What
can
are you
see
doing
myself.
calling? We were supposed to screen
Nah,
you
man,
out.
you can call anytime, and don't let Rob change your view.
Hey,
It's like
I'm
Jordan. You got to
up.
stand up to him and tell him he's wrong.
That's right. All right, but here's the thing, man. My first memory of Jordan, I was 6 years old watching the 1992 NBA Finals, and it was the Shrug game against Portland. I was born in Portland, and I remember being like, I'm asking my dad, I said, why is he being like that? And he said, because he's a cold-blooded killer. He's a winner, man. That's what he does. And I remember thinking, oh, man, this dude is serious. So I'm hoping what this is going to do is going to wake up some of my crazy peers who are millennials out there who don't seem to understand what this dude was doing. This dude is the GOAT, all right? He's better. Okay, that's it.
And see, you
Good
know
man.
what? Hey, that's what
Good
I'm
call.
saying is that some of those young guys are finally going to get a peek inside, Chris, and it might sway some people.
No, I think that's a good point. You know, a lot of it will depend, and I think they are going to do a great deal of this, but how much they go back. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's centered around that last year, but I'm sure, they're going to go back into college. And probably
there's got to be more. Like there's a circumstance that happens that season where they go back and go, well, back in North Carolina, he was, you know what I mean? Or
that's exactly
back
what
his freshman
from what
year.
I've read, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's got to be
that's
that.
where you'll get the fans that
to be able to get
see
10
the whole
parts.
story.
There's
Yep.
got to be those flashbacks, what he learned from there, how he took that to the NBA with him, how he became that kind of player. All right, is it Abdi in Canada? You're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? How you guys doing, man?
We're doing
We are
good. How are
brother.
you?
How are you?
I'm good, man. Hey, you guys are a great show, man. We listen to it up here in Toronto, is where I live, man. But the question
Thank you.
guys are asking,
Thank
I think there's going to be a lot of more appreciation for Michael Jordan, man. Just like the work ethic that he had, like, instilled into himself and the teammates around him. You look at, like, guys like Scottie Pippen, for example. I'm, like, 27 years old, so, like, I wasn't able to watch, like, all these moments as it happened, but being able to first, like, know about what basketball is, watching those sort of highlights, it's incredible to see that work ethic, and then how he instills that onto, like, other players. And, like, the closest resemblance of that we've seen for your millennials and how they bring it up is, like, Kobe Bryant, right?
Right.
And, like, even LeBron James. So, like, it's going to be good for Michael Jordan's in that debate. So, but yeah, great show, guys. It was great listening to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And Toronto, of course, Chris, one of the great cities in this world.
Great city.
Beautiful
and
city, too.
Canada's got some tremendous cities, but Toronto, as you said, one of them.
Canada, the nicest
Vancouver's
people,
beautiful.
very clean, and all Canadians wear comfortable shoes. So it's a good place. Harry in Columbus, Ohio, you're on the Odd Couple Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How's it going?
What's up?
How you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hopefully, families are safe.
Yes. Thank you.
So I would say I don't think this is going to get any more MJ fans. Hopefully, millennials can appreciate Michael Jordan more. But I think with today's culture, like I know Rick Bucher kind of touched on it on Speak for Yourself. Like, that's why Michael Jordan's like, some people are going to think I'm a bad guy just because how he had the will to win. Because I get in arguments about LeBron James with my millennial friends and Michael Jordan. Like, honestly, Michael Jordan did have a better team. Like, if you replace Michael Jordan with LeBron James, for sure the finals in 15 when LeBron James lost to the Golden State Warriors, he wins that. Michael Jordan wins that. And I hate to say it, there's times, and it's unfair just because LeBron James didn't grow up with a father. So, he was raised a little differently, being raised by a single mom. And I'm not saying, single moms don't do a great job, but it's different. Statistics show it's different having a father. There's multiple series that you replace LeBron James with Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan wins those games. So hopefully this opens their eyes and understands how much of a winner Michael Jordan was.
Well, the fact is this, and granted, we saw him lose in the playoffs, of course, but we never saw him lose. Once he started winning, it was just like over, right? He never lost.
No.
And that is different. And, did you say Jordan obviously had better teams? I mean, he made them better, but, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh,
They're all
How
in,
they
in
stack
LeBron's
up with Pippen and Rodman?
they're all in LeBron's draft class, right?
Right.
I mean, think about that. Come on.
And that's not to mention the Ray Allens, who was past his prime, but still a great shooter.
But and
Chris, then even Cleveland, Kyrie and Love. I mean,
here's
Love
the other
was putting
part,
up
too.
monster numbers in Minnesota.
But people don't realize not only was that the super team of those guys, but it also weakened that conference by taking those guys from their team.
Right. Absolutely.
People don't talk about that.
Good point.
That's why you're able to dominate. You just wrecked two teams.
No question. Because that's the thing. Like, obviously in Cleveland, LeBron didn't have a Pippen, like his first go round in Cleveland. But obviously after that, Miami and then Cleveland again, he had stars playing with him there.
Yep. Let's squeeze in Justin in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Justin?
Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Great,
Hanging
man.
in.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I just want to say, I don't think Jordan can have any more fans, really. I mean, everybody buys his shoes. He's probably still the richest athlete each year. I just think that if they had it on HBO or a place where they can show the cursing, I think it would be a little bit politically incorrect for nowadays. But I think obviously
If
they're going to
Jordan,
edit.
you saying Jordan's cursing?
Yeah, cause I'm pretty sure Jordan, behind the scenes, he's cursing at these guys and everything. Cause I'm pretty sure, but they're gonna clean that up on ABC and the ESPN.
Well, it's
where
gonna be on. ESPN. I mean, look, nowadays we see LeBron cursing all the time
And
on the
drinking
shop,
wine.
and you know what I mean. Even in their championship parade.
But not like in a
Speech.
degrading way. I think when you're on the basketball court, you know how people curse. You put people in the degrade with somebody's garbage.
Right.
You say a lot of things. I just think they showed
It'll
that.
be
I think
interesting
it would,
if they.
but they're not.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Do they beep it out? Do they? Yeah, that'll be interesting.
All right, appreciate the call so much. Thank you. Do we have time for one more or no? Is we done?
Let's move on. All right,
We do. We got one more, Chris.
One more?
Yeah, Mark
All
in
right,
Sacramento. Make it quick. You're
What's
on the
up,
Odd
Mark?
Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey.
He'll get more fans because you'll see the raw Michael Jordan. This is the part that's been legendary. We now get a chance to hear him talk about it and see it. And that anger from Jerry Krause, there's a part of the Dream Team that talks about that when it went after Tony Kukoc because that was about Jerry Krause. So I hope they play on some of that too. You guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.
All right. Yep. Thanks, Mark.